Hello.
Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome
What's
back.
up, guys? How's
I
it going?
turn up my stones. So I'm gonna let Susan tell you guys what we're gonna discuss today while I share the live.
Okay. So, what we are discussing today is a couple of topics. One is a hard one. It's going to be about abortion. Me and Kira are going to kind of do the back and forth of how we feel about it because I'm sure that we have a different view. I'm almost positive of this because of my own situation. So, it kind of gives you a moment to kind of consider how maybe both worlds were. So, I'm going to do bad cop, good cop situation. Um, then another one we were just talking about this. This just like came up. We want to know how you guys are doing with the recent unemployment. Are you guys still owed money from the government? Is there some things that you guys are kind of facing alone? Do you feel like you need some GoFundMe's going on? What's happening in your personal life where you feel you can work, can't work? What's going on in your life that's preventing you from getting the right kind of help or social security disability, even if you do need it? Um, what else can we talk about? Well, we'll get to more into that, but I want to talk about Texas. Texas decided that they were going to go ahead and ban abortion. Um, which is kind of crazy. We also have another man, a gay man that was killed in another country who worked for the USA Aid, and they're killing the people that actually killed the man. So I want to know what people's feelings are on the death sentence for killing another person in a different country and what that means to you in general. If there was somebody over here that was killed in our country and you got, the death sentence, obviously murder is bad for any reason, but there's a lot of controversy. I mean, it kind of brings up a topic, maybe not so much for that one, but there's going to be a lot of countries that don't believe in what the United States believe as well. And what's your feelings on that? Me and Kara, last time we talked, we brought up diversity, so we'll kind of end with diversity and what she feels about certain friends and stuff. Because obviously, Kara made a big step on cutting some friends out of her life. So we're gonna talk to Kira about that and why she decided to do that, and our next adventure into radio as well, and what you guys want. What as a community do you want out of the radio show? What topics do you think are important that me and Kira should investigate or maybe touch base on that you guys would like to hear more? Maybe that's
Exactly.
so. While she's going live, I wanted to talk about abortion in itself. Kira, how do you feel about abortion in general?
Okay, so because I lost a child at 6 months old, and I really like my entire life. I really like it's. I feel like it's that. I feel like it's that person's choice. But me personally, I wouldn't do it. Now, I'm not saying that I wouldn't do it if I got pregnant and say it posted a health risk to me because I wasn't
Oh,
right shape to do it or I wasn't in the right situation to have that baby and it was still early enough on to where I could take the pills or something or do an alternative. But the surgery, me myself, just thinking of them going in and actually killing a child, I don't really believe in that sort of thing.
right.
Because that is a human being that you're killing. I feel like there are plenty of people who can't have children that would love that child, like it's their own if you didn't want to keep it and you wanted to give it up. But I do feel like it is that individual woman's choice whether or not she wants to have an abortion or not. But I don't judge other people if they do it. It's just not my cup of tea.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So here's my view on it. This is what worries me the most. I am actually um, people may not like what I'm going to say, but I am not really for abortion, and it's not because I don't think you should have the choice because it's your body. It's not because I don't think that you shouldn't go ahead and go with the act of whatever you're feeling at the time to make that conclusion. There's a mental health aspect that I'm worried about, and then there's also a body aspect I'm worried about. One of them things being is that after you decide to have an abortion, you're putting yourself at risk to lose all of your children and have health issues and concerns if it's not done properly. And what I mean by this is think about going into just like a clinic that, focuses on this, hands you a pill or goes in and takes the baby, doesn't even give you a proper D&C or anything like that. If you don't know what a D&C is, it's after you actually have a miscarriage in your life and they go in and they take the placenta and everything else out. So some people don't just have an abortion here in the United States at a rate like 3 weeks. They have it 2 months later, and it's like you can have all this stuff and bacteria build up and hurt you. People don't want to believe in that aspect. It could even rip you from having your own children if you decide to have them later. These are things and conversations that doctors and people should be talking to our youth about, especially rape victims. Like, think about how tragic it would be to be a woman and have your sexuality taken from you and your innocence taken from you. But then later on in your life, you decide you're in love, you've moved on from this trauma, and you want to have a baby and fulfill this life, and find out later that you can't because of a trauma that happened to you. And people are just like, well, I said, there's just a mental side. There's a lot of people who are young that get pregnant. Of course, there are a lot of people who are older that get pregnant and decide that they're going to have an abortion. But as much as I can say, I've ran into a lot of women later that wish that they didn't make that decision because it later affected them mentally about who they were as a person. So I think before abortions happen, I think there should be more conversations with clinicians talking to them, no matter the situation. I think there should be an intervention where they do try to explain all of that, to you. And then if you're still wanting to do that, then go ahead and have, you know what I mean? Make that we need a better system. Like, just going into a clinic, there's people that use this as a birth control method. I think if you've had 3 or 4 abortions in your lifetime, I consider you to look deep inside yourself and say, when is it enough? I know people that have like openly told me in my passing that they've done this to their bodies, and it's not even just about the act. It's just like you could really hurt yourself mentally or physically. That concerns me. It is a very big concern, and this country kind of steps away from it. It can totally, definitely can mess up you from having a baby in the future. And that is something that, even as a child or a young woman, if you want to give your baby up for adoption to have a full life, even if you wanted nothing to do with that baby or have it or be responsible, there are tons of families and stuff and resources that you can look into and meet and talk to before making the decision. I think there needs to be a counseling for this act for every woman to make that decision. And if they come to terms with your body and you say, I don't want to have this baby, this is my reasons why, this and that, and you've went through the assessment, okay, cool. But let's give them some more resources. And that's why I think it should be banned until they actually know what they're doing to their bodies and their mental health. Not to take a right away from you necessarily, but I feel like let's talk about it first more than we are, because so many women will hurt themselves. I don't want any woman to necessarily go inside their bodies and pull out this baby and say, I don't want it, and be a harm to themselves or anyone else. Because there are people that will be like, you can't take my right from me. I'm going to do it myself. I don't want that either. So we're in this complicated situation. So my honest opinion is, ladies, if you're listening, go seek counsel before you decide to have an abortion. Listen to some people who've been through it themselves and listen to how it's affected them physically and mentally. And absolutely 100% know that you could hurt yourself further from having your own children in the future with this. I know.
She says she knows someone who had 4 of them and now they're mentally unstable.
Yeah. Oh, I know
those decisions.
I bet y'all looked at me weird when I said like 4 or 5, but I mean, just in my lifetime, I know people who have like friends and people that when we were young were just fertile mortals, and like you could breathe on them and they get pregnant. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it. And just and I'm like, oh my God, I
I
was
feel
like,
like I feel like if if God chose to bring that life onto this earth, it's not you shouldn't kill it. Like
Mhm.
it obviously has a purpose here. Like regardless if it's a small thing or a big thing, it has a purpose to be here. And like I mean, even when I kill a spider, I say a prayer for the spider before I kill it. Like before I pull a weed out of the ground in my garden, I tell it to divert its pain so that it doesn't feel it before I pull it. Like that's
Right, no,
you just you're supposed to treat everything as if it was you.
it's a good thing to be grateful for everything around you, and this is where I said where me and Kira are gonna disagree on abortion, and I'll tell you why. Because I have an up and down sense of this just from talking to people. Um, I think women are empowered with their bodies, and I think that they like the choice of what, you know what I mean, is coming into the world or isn't, or if this society can handle it. Some people don't necessarily just want to have kids in this society because of how things are turning out while they're having children. People used to have 5 kids, 4 kids, 3 kids, down to 2 kids, down to 1 kids, and living their life. I think I don't want anybody to feel bad necessarily for making this choice or bear judgment on that, because I want them to turn to get the help that they need to grow in their way of God. It's their journey. I can't say that God would never put anybody in a position like he did Abraham to give up a child and not have a lesson behind that to grow as a community. So I try to look at it at 2 different ways. There has to be bad in the world to enforce something good to feel the good in it. Um, Killing a spider, I can't say that I pray before.
And look,
There's
there was
like
a
this
spider.
moment. There's
Let me
this
just tell you the
moment.
story. So
There's just this morning.
this morning I'm in the shower and there's this spider and I'm trying to shave my legs and it starts coming down and I'm like, "Look, dude, if you don't crawl back up, we're going to have some problems. So I suggest you crawl back up." So he actually listened and he crawled back up. Um but then he tried to come back down as I was shaving my other leg and I was like, "Okay, now you done effed up." So I said I said what I say? I said I hope you don't feel no pain while you flow down this drain in Jesus' name.
Amen. Well then, I mean, all right. All right. I mean, for that, me me on the other hand, actually, it's funny that you say that because there was a spider in my office. So this tis the season, I think. I was watching it underneath a painting my friend Michelle and I did, and it was like kind of doing this wobbly thing, like where it's like, whoa, whoa. I was like, oh, you need to go back up to where you belong. Like, I won't kill it. You come near me though. I feel like God said you need to let that one go. Bye. See you later. I'm not saying that, that's 100% correct. I like ladybugs. I like lightning bugs. I garden. I don't even mess with worms. I feel bad. Like if I kill a worm, I am definitely not a hunting person. I definitely am like, oh my gosh. But I have to say, we all um, should appreciate people who can do those jobs so we can eat. Because let's be real, do we eat steak, chicken, seafood, all of that? Those people, I wonder if I mean, I'm sure there's some people that pray or they're just like, gotta eat,
I
gotta
I
eat.
don't I don't eat beef or pork. And I eat a lot of chicken, turkey, seafood, lamb, things like that. So I don't eat beef or pork, and I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables and like different dips. So I eat a lot of crackers and dips. So I try not to eat meat too much unless I need protein. And sometimes I'll even do a protein shake. That's what I usually do in the morning is a meal replacement shake or a protein shake in the morning.
I'm gonna tell you guys all something that's gonna blow your mind, and then I'm gonna answer Carissa real quick because she brings up a really great point.
Yes, she
Um,
does.
Carissa said they need to lower the cost of adoption. I think more women would choose other options. Hi, Alyssa.
Yeah,
How are
listen,
you?
that's my one of my really good. That's like my family. Love her.
Aw, I like the
She's
little,
amazing.
your little emoji. But going back to Carissa real quick, listen, I feel you're right about this. And the other problem that we have in this, and this is another good topic here. Do you know how many kids, especially young Black women, come up missing in CSB custody and foster care that are between 17 to 20 years old, and we have no idea where these women are, even as they go forward into their life? They
Because
run
they're getting
away. They run away
well.
out of these foster cares. That's what they say. They're used to these people running away. Like they run
Mhm.
away, is what they said, but they never find them. You know what I'm saying? Like, where are all these girls between this age and that age and getting lost into the system? Abortion itself is complicated. It is. They really have a really hard structure. It's not even just about having the money. It's also about you have to be the perfect weight, have the perfect jobs, have this or that and set for yourself in order to adopt. You can't be a single woman and adopt, even if you were going to be the greatest mom in the century and give them everything they wanted. They want them to have a two-parent home. I mean, you I think at one time lesbians, gay men, diversity, all these issues are in play when we say let's go ahead and give up this baby for adoption. That would be a great scenario for a young woman having a child who, out of whatever need, that she was giving up the baby for adoption. But let's be real, a lot of that too is a fear that their child's going to go into a system. Are they wrong? Not always.
Because first of all, the system is not what it should be. I feel like
Hmm.
it's never going to be perfect, of course not, but we need to do better to protect these children.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and these children are getting failed, and it's not only in the system
Hmm.
where they're in adoptions or foster care or whatever. But a lot of times these girls will go to these foster care homes and they'll get molested or raped from these foster parents. Um,
Hmm.
happened multiple times because we've always taken younger girls who had issues. They always came to my house,
Hmm.
and I always befriended them. And like it was just like that because I'm an empath, so I just damaged people are drawn to me. You know what I mean? So, and I think that that is the cause why they run away, and then they rely on a person that's willing to give them, oh well, I can give you a place to stay, and then that person either kills them to where you never see them again. They go into the sex trafficking circle, or
Yeah.
to the organ where they end up dead, and then they get you so their organs get sold, the organ circle. So there's a
You
lot
mean for
of
like black market organs, you
yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
Okay.
And there's a lot of like there's okay, so there's so much negative going on in the world right now that it's time for the good to help balance it back out.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I think that's a big reason why we're doing what we're doing, guys, is because somebody has to be a voice to some of the things going on around you. There is a common sense that's missing, and I think we all can agree on this, is just like Kira has her against her own adversity right now. Good person, has a lot of faith, gets hurt a lot, and I think a lot of good people get hurt continually, and that's just because we have big hearts. But in the real society of everything, how do we fix this together? It's like one good deed to a million good deeds this tiny can change everything. As long as we're continually talking about it, not being diverse, open hearted, open minded to each person's situation. Even though I
Mhm.
feel like I'm right about something, I tell myself constantly, doesn't mean that I'm right. Doesn't
Right.
mean that somebody doesn't have a better view, a better idea because they're in that situation. And it takes a lot. It takes a lot. It takes a really good person to be that voice. Just keep that in mind. Journalism is a huge thing. Like I want to, why I say journalism, guys, is because what Kira and I are focused on goes towards journalism. It's a really hard stick because we get to talk about really hard situations, and it puts us at risk and it puts our families at risk. And we just want to tell you that we are open to helping everybody that we can. But keep in mind, if we can't help you right away, it's not because we don't want to. We have to do the investigations of everything before we do it. So if you have an idea of something going on in your community, why I'm bringing this up, like black market sex trafficking, anything where you know that more about this topic, and the reason why I brought into these girls going missing is because there is a lot in Akron, a lot.
And not only
It's
girls,
an overstanding
there's guys
number.
that there's
Oh
guys
yeah,
that mysteriously
there's
end up missing or dead, and
uh,
it's more to it than they try to blame it on like gang related fights, but it's really not even that. It's
they
because
just come up missing.
yeah,
They get into a car and then they're gone. It's
yeah,
always kind of the same story. They saw them in some flip flops, some
yeah.
hoodie. A lot of them are dressed in their pajamas, oddly. Um, and they see them get into a vehicle and then they haven't been seen since. They have a history of crime, violence, or runaway, but it doesn't matter. Like, we need to know where these kids are this summer. Like, if you look on Akron Missing Persons and you were to actually do the investigation on this, you will see that young women are missing from June until now. And
Mm-hmm.
it just keeps happening. So definitely, if you're in the Akron community, keep an eye out, watch, especially for young black females. I'm not discrediting young white females, but it seems to be like a lot of young black females that are coming up missing, and a young couple young black males. But I like, for that situation, it's kind of like the same story. It's kind of like a stupid, like, view to me. Like, okay, they run away, but where are they?
Yeah,
You're like, are we still looking for these kids? Did they call? Did they outreach? Did they any of that? It really bugs me.
I got
I'm just
frozen.
saying. I was gonna say, you look really happy right now. You got really happy right now.
Well, I am
Um,
happy, but I don't know why
so
I'm frozen.
that's another topic that I would like to talk about in the communities. What's another good subject we were talking about? We went through the abortion situation. Oh, is anyone right now, if you can answer this, I know a person that is, your unemployment situation through this COVID, a lot of people are finding out that
Jeez,
their
come on.
unemployment ended all of a sudden. I am not one of those people,
There we
but
go.
I've worked full time through the whole COVID situation. God bless. But for friends that haven't been able to work through the COVID situation due to their situations, especially having children and then having to be a teacher as well through those times, I don't think they're getting the help that they actually need, as far as like I'm hearing. And how do you guys feel about your disabilities, like SSI, SSDI? How much are you getting out of what you need for your children or your livelihood if you are a person in a disabled situation? How do you feel about Social Security disability as a whole? Do you think things should change? I think there's too many people that are in a system that keeps going on Social Security disability that I don't know if they fully need it or not. And that takes away from other people who may really need it. So people, um, if you are one of these people that abuse the system, what I would tell you is try to open up your heart and think about not abusing the system and helping out with middle class, or if you can, to pay into those taxes, because I'm one of those people who pay a lot of money into taxes every single year, and I don't mind it. I really don't. As long as I'm helping someone, I really don't care. But if somebody's using the system, it takes away from the people that actually need it now, if you're
Mm-hmm.
able to help. That's my whole view and anger towards it when I hear about communities. And I think people are very confused when I say use the system. I don't mean people who need it, people who have up and down issues with mental health, anybody. I'm saying there are people who just don't want to work. And people don't like when I say that, like they're doing it on purpose. I've had people openly admit this to me on a couple occasions for me to think like this. So it's not just coming out of the air like I believe this. I know because they've told me this. And I'm like, why tell me? It just makes me bitter. And I'm not trying to be. I want to stay home and I want to go work out and I want to drink my coffee in the morning. It sounds all great, but then it doesn't, because it seems like it's a hurtful thing in a circle that people are stuck in. And why they feel they need to be stuck in that circle bothers me. Like,
Mhm.
why do you think you can't do better? Why do you think you're not better? Why do you think you're not equal? And how do we change that in our community? How do we make you see differently to pull you into that situation? And I know this is a stretch because
I'm
people
gonna
are
be
like, not
right back. Give
everybody's
me one
you.
second.
She's like, not everybody's you. Not everybody can do it, do think that way. But if it comes down to it, I hope that people, if you have a eye view on this, what do you think needs to change in the communities to help people outreach to people and make them feel equal into the workforce, or why they don't feel equal into the workforce, or what's holding them back, or what laws do we need to pass to change that as well? What do you think, Kara? What laws and stuff you think needs to change for people to be able to better themselves in a community, or is it just a belief system or a movement that needs to happen to make people know that there are many people that there's way to help in this situation?
So I think that there needs to be more laws regarding these situations. I feel like there needs to be more help for the minority and the low income families. I think that you know, like I grew up in a low, middle class at first, and then my separated, and then we were class. In the projects, nicer projects because we did get approved for like Van Buren, which is in Barberton. It was nicer than some of the projects in Akron, but it still was the projects. And I didn't get a lot of the opportunities, and that like my cousins who um, were in different situations than I was that got were better off. I didn't get a lot of those same opportunities. And I feel like these kids need to be offered the type of support they need, and the type of system that they need in order to succeed at a younger age. I feel like we need to focus more on our children, because they are our future and they are what's going to be the change.
Hmm.
So I feel like we need to support them fully. We need to be there for them. We need to motivate them. We need to be respectful of their personal boundaries, and who they are as a person, because they are human beings as well. So I think there needs to be a good balance between leadership and friendship in order to get them to listen, because that's how you get through to this generation, is by being a little bit more laid back and friends with them than being all up down their throats, like how most parents would have been. And I
Hmm.
think they just need to have good examples of people who have came from the same situations that they have and overcame that, to let them know that it is possible. But like for me, I didn't have that type of support system. So for me, that's what I would like to be for these children.
Oh, a good topic too. Yeah, it's. I think it's who you are. I think it's how you're raised. It's how you are able to see things clearer. I think that you have to be a
Second.
person really change to really change a society with these kids. I'm not saying that all kids are bad, or they come from bad homes, or that the poor doesn't succeed over the rich, or the rich doesn't exceed over the poor, the middle class. What I'm trying to say is that how I guess how what I want to say is, how do we as a society get our kids more involved into things other than just electronics, other than just all around. I feel like a lot of times, this is my opinion, are on their phones, their tablets, and their gaming systems a lot. I don't know if it's a part of like the evolution or whatever, but I know it can't be all that great for your mind to be stagnant in one area because you're not going out and hanging with your friends. You're not going to go live your, your life. Cyberbullying is at its all-time high. These kids, these kids have a lot of pressure. I mean, back when we were
Yeah.
kids, we made a mistake. We went home. It was done for the day. You know what I'm saying? We didn't get along with Betty Sue or Bobby Lee. You know what I mean? Tomorrow is the gym at 5. You know what I'm saying? It was like one incident and then it was like a week of crap and then it moved on to the next person's week of crap. So it wasn't like every day. You know what I'm saying? That this is happening. No matter how tough any of you were bullied at North High School, I wasn't one of them. And I've heard about this more and more as I got older through certain friends I had and grew up with. They were like, well, that person, they were just mean to me. And I was like, really? They were mean to you? Like this one I said, because I'm letting y'all know I was clueless to this fact and it's not on purpose. It was literally like, if I had known that would have happened, I would have yelled at that person. I was like, y'all should have found me because I was not for that life. My father was a very heavily bullied man because he was dyslexic. And I mean, he's writing a book about him being in there. I mean, this is a time where kids got whipped. You couldn't go to your parents and tell your parents that you're being abused by the teachers because the moment you did, they got another whooping because your teachers are always right. And he couldn't see correctly and he worked on farms and all this other stuff. So these kids were very mean to him because he couldn't read right away. My dad pushed himself so hard that he joined the military, graduated from high school, got his GED in the military, and it took a long time for him to be able to live a normal way of life or thinking or seeing. He remembers seeing for the first time normal when he got glasses. And like to how much we've grown as a society, we get to the 80s and 90s kids. I want to say we had good childhoods. Even if you grew up in a bad home, like you went outside and hung out with your friends all day. Parent was going to feed you regardless. A lot of parents stepped up and fed the kids of the whole neighborhood if they had to. In my generation, one of us got in trouble, we all were in trouble. It wasn't like Kira was smoking a cigarette and Susan wasn't. It didn't matter if she was smoking by herself. We were both in trouble. And I think I want to see kids thrive in who they are, of course. I don't know if I'm like not lenient enough on technology because I am not. Oh, I'm struggling with this, guys. Like every time I see a kid on the phone, I just want to rip it and go outside. Go outside and play. Use your brain. Go collect rocks. And they're like already know how to build mansions and stuff by the time they're like 9.
Yeah.
Like pretty much. Yeah. And I'm like, am I like deflating you or am I building you up? I'm not really sure how to deal with your guys' generation here. I just want to throw you guys into all extracurricular activities, drama, ballet, gymnastics, karate. Like I just want to put you guys all back into that fun situation. Yuri's trying to make her debut.
My cat does that too. So I think that, kids being on technology is okay, but I think it is important for them to get out and do physical activities. Like when we were kids, we had to go out and knock on and look for the kids in the neighborhood and then introduce ourselves. Like these kids don't know communication like we did. So I think that when bullying comes into play, that's why there's bullying's at a all-time high, is because these kids don't know how to communicate properly. Because when we were kids, we would get into an argument with somebody and then the next day we're best friends again, get into an argument and then the next day we're best friends again. That's just how it was. We could fight someone one day and then, the next day we're like, oh yeah, this is my buddy. We're going to go bikes together,
sure
or come up. Yeah.
She's with me. I'm like, I was not your friend the next day. I just want you to know I held a grudge for at least 6 months. And then I let that go.
I don't hold grudges, so.
I was a very grudgeful kid. Because I went out of my way to help people and do things for them. I was like that when I was a kid. Like it didn't matter. My best friend Shannon was Shannon King. Okay. If anybody doesn't know who that is, she grew up in a very poor home. And she had 4 brothers, and my parents really stepped up and with her and helped her. And I mean, relentless when we were like 5 and 6 years old. Like, kids were not very nice to her, and that's what I remember. She was my first friend ever. The first day of kindergarten, I walked in to my room. They tried to get me back to my mother because I was too short, and they thought I was 2 years old. And they did. They said, "You forgot something." And she said, "No, she's 5." I was like, and I remember it. I was like, "Oh man." And then Shannon, there she was, same with me, eye level, was like, "Here we are." And you didn't think about money, and you didn't think about popularity, and you didn't think about, you know, their lifestyle, or if their parents were drug addicts or what was good. You just were happy to have a friend. You were just happy to play with somebody and hang out. And I think these kids are missing that. Like, they just
Have
like
someone to
grew up.
talk to.
Yeah, they're not communicating.
Yeah, they're not.
And it's sad because that's why I think the suicide rate among young teenagers have went up so significantly in the past 10 years. That's no joke. Like, high rates, guys. Not like it's sad. And it's because, again, people keep things going for long periods of time on these kids that they think no way out, right?
Well, society and social media has everything, so picture perfect, like everything's so perfect. When in all reality, it's not. We all struggle. We all go through shit. Like, I'm going through some shit right now, and I don't even know what's going to happen, but I know I have my faith in God that something's going to happen. So it is what it is. But
yeah, definitely will there is a way. Like, God will put the right people in your life for sure. If he draws you to somebody, there's a reason for that. He's like, they got you. I put that person in your corner,
right,
because I've known her her whole life. And I can honestly say, and my friends can say this, and it's a beautiful feeling to know this about yourself. And it doesn't matter who agrees with this statement or doesn't agree with the statement. The people that really know me will tell you I'm the most loyal person they have ever met in their life. And it's a great feeling because I know I can sit there and go to 10 different people that I've known my entire life and will tell you that. Like, if I said I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. If I say I'm going to show up, I'm going to show up. If I'm going to whatever, I might be late, but I'll be there. Like, I won't let you die though.
I'm always late, but I'm going to show up, but I'll be late.
I'm going to be there.
Late. That's just how I am. There. I'm fashionably late. Yes, honey, I'm fashionably late. It's okay. Well, all right, I'm here.
Yeah, absolutely, Amber. That's a great thing to say. Yeah, always a will. There is a way. There is definitely a way. And sometimes we get focused on that negativity, don't we? Like, we're just like, everything is going wrong. Everything feels suffocating. I can't breathe in this life. We all do that. I mean, we all live in a world that is hard. It just is.
Yeah.
And the people that don't want to realize that, who live in a sheltered life, who ignore the rest of the people around them, that is not why I'm doing this show. It's just to show you that there are odds in people that stand up every day to do what's right, no matter what kind of lifestyle we were grown up in. It's like, what do we do as a community to stop some of the stuff that is hurting or making us bleed? Does it start with our kids? Does it start with figuring out what those situations are? Does it help to talk about what's hurting people? Is it helping? Do you feel like you're not getting enough mental health help? Mental health help, guys, super huge, super huge. Physically and emotionally, you cannot do well without your mental health. If your mental health is deteriorating at all, you need to reach out, because there's a lot of help in this community. I am a financial person in the mental health community, and I can tell you that if you are struggling, you don't have an income, you have low income, zero income, you can get free treatment. And then you'll go, how is that possible? I'm a financial person, so I have an idea. No income. You're in Summit County, reach out. I will lead you to a place that can give you some mental health If you don't believe in mental health issues out there, let me tell you, really take an
Take
eye
a look at
view.
me. I am a mental health case.
No, she's not. Don't listen to her. I'm just saying, like, she's her own person. But anyhow, I'm telling you, if she needed it, if she really needed it, I would always help my friends, of course, get to where they need to be mentally. Your mental health is what is the biggest thing before physical. And if you're mentally not healthy, you physically will not feel healthy. It doesn't matter how many marathons you run, no matter how good you feel in that moment, no matter how much you're doing in your life good. If your mental health, you're lacking some vitamins, you're lacking hormones, you're lacking something chemistry wise in your body, you may need to talk about it. People suffer severe abuse, PTSD. PTSD is a very hard disease. PTSD has no trigger, really, I think, for a lot of people who suffer with it. One moment they're happy, the next day they wake up and just feel.
The other morning, and I was having a panic attack. I woke up in a panic attack. Like, I haven't had a panic attack in forever, and I woke up having an anxiety attack because of PTSD.
PTSD is the hardest thing that I've ever been through in my life. And it's really hard to explain because how people explain it on TV and shows and stuff like that is showing these flashbacks of usually somebody that was in a war hero, not somebody who's been through physical trauma or mental trauma or bereavement trauma. It's a hard disease out there. I mean, you have to keep going every day, no matter how you feel like your brain's attacking you or how scared you are to get in that car that morning, because the rest of the world isn't going to wait, and you learn that you can overcome so much mentally with that disease if you can. Amber, yes, physical health does help mental health tremendously if you can get out there and be physically active. But here's another problem with that. If you're not mentally healthy, you're less likely to go on the treadmill. You're less likely to go outside. You're less likely to put yourself in social situations to gain that kind of clarity. You can work out and it will help your mental health status, but if you are suffering mentally, you will not push yourself to do the things that to do. So you'll kind of go like up, down, up, down. You'll lose the weight, you'll gain the weight. You'll go work out. It won't become a lifestyle change if you don't get the correct help. It will come an up, down situation. Like 1 month you're doing great, and then next month you're sitting on the couch eating a whole pizza, drinking a pop, and watching Oprah crying. Like that's what, instead of having like a stability in your life. Not saying you don't need to eat your pizza, drink your pop, and cry, because I mean that's a stress reliever if you're doing it once in a while. But when you take a whole month out of your life and say, I'm going to give up, this is too hard, I can't do this, and I can't do this on my own, that's a different kind of mental pain. And even if that person works out once this week, twice that week, 3 that week, they're not getting into a routine or a rhythm with themselves, even internally. It's just up, down. And if you ever feel up, down like this, like you're up here and then you go down, and then you're up here and then you go down, it's because there's a reason and a different way. Like the will, there is a way. The mental health is going to help drive the rest of the things that you want in your life continually. If you don't fix what's up here, you're not going to fix what's around you. You can be as positive and as wonderful as you want, and I'm one of these people. And until I was 28 years old, I literally had to wake myself up and say, this is what I need to do to be better. And it was every painful step, every time I was looking at myself, forgiving myself for not taking that step into my journey sooner was the painful part. Like I knew everything I was capable of because I knew I was smart, and I knew I knew I was capable. It was just I was holding me back. And how do we do that but from up here? You know what I'm saying? Because people tell you who you are in this life and you believe it for a little bit. But if you're really strong and whatever, you walk away one day. And you can walk away 2 times, 3 times. You will continue to walk away from the toxic things in your life, which I hooked in because we're going to talk about this too with Kara about why she decided to walk away from the toxic people in her life, why she's come to that. What's your story on this, Kara? How do you feel? Didn't see that hook coming. I just want to say that was.
So yeah, we all know that I've been going through my own journey, and it took a while for me to realize that I needed to step out of my way. Because even though I was going to school last year, Ohio Media School last year for RTB, I still had days where I would have severe anxiety and I wouldn't even log into class. I would just go to sleep because I couldn't get out of bed. My anxiety was just so overwhelming. And it was because of everything around me had changed. COVID had changed everything. My family, my surroundings, the way I go about my day, like having to sanitize everything in the house, my car constantly, like it was just it was so much. And then going into a career change after that, being home with my kids, going from working to being at home with my kids, that was a strain because that's a big step, you know. And being around your kids 24/7, it's not easy, and you need a break. You always need a break, like you do. It's just it don't feel bad for it either. It's good for your sanity. And, but yeah, I'm still fighting with my mental because I'm still like, okay, so all these things are happening, but you know, it's kind of like, why did it take me so long? And I've been questioning if I'm behind, you know, if I should have already been to this at this point in my life. You know what I mean? But
I
you gotta understand, like, I feel like I have to tell myself like I'm right on time because everything happens at the time it's supposed to happen. And I was able to handle it better. If it would have happened earlier, I might not have been able to handle it as well as I did at this point. So with all the changes and everything, like it's just completely different. Like I'm going through something that's it's just hard to explain. Like it's like the level up, like I'm skipping levels. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm going from one level and I'm skipping levels instead of taking steps. If I feel like I'm skipping a bunch of levels and I'm just going all the way up. And I don't want to miss those steps. I want to take my time and I want to work my way there because it's overwhelming.
mm-hmm. I'm super duper proud of you, dude. I think that people need to understand something. I think it's funny. One of the things that I'm going to bring up that Kara said is that she feels that she doesn't know why all this is happening. She doesn't do this. This is what happens when you take a big step in your life. It's called a breather, and it's like you hit an all-time high and then you'll hit an all-time low. And the reason for this is because overwhelmingly you're becoming somebody that you don't know. And people don't understand that. It's like you you set yourself in this life in one way and one version of yourself for a long time. And after that, you don't know who you are anymore. It's kind of like looking in a mirror. You don't know who you are, but you're proud of yourself, but you don't know what is on the next chapter. You don't
Mm-hmm.
know what you're facing. It's scary. It's scary and it's in freeing. So I think if you have a faith like we do, Kara, I believe God's like, focus on this person, Susan. Susan, I have a very close connection with God. And he's like, this person is a very loyal person, where Kara's been hurt, Kara's been this. He's like, eventually, when you start making the right choices, they put the right people in your life because you both have a common goal that may mean something to you. And where me and Kara meet is in a lot of weird ways, a lot of the same stories, just different settings. Um,
Mm-hmm.
on one end, she's had a lot of adversity, a lot of issues that she's had to overcome, a lot of strength it took her to get off the bathroom floor, take her children, do all of that stuff. That's where we're different. I didn't have some of the same issues and stuff like that by personal choice, but it also came through my upbringing. I had two parents that were Christians that stayed at home. I had a really good upbringing. my life happened to me outside of my home, and what I learned through it, and it made me close to people. I didn't judge people. That was a great thing about me. I really am not a judgy person. Like, I really want to know, how can we make this better? And I think that's why God maybe put us together, because we're both on the same common goal as, how do we make this better? And here's 2 points of views. Hers from this point of view, here's from my point of view. How do we connect with that and make people understand, if me and her come from 2 different sides of the world and have different opinions or different whatever, and we're communicating and talking, how do we bring communication back? How do we show people that, just like Kira, who went through a hard situation, is here right now, about to go possibly have a great job on a great radio show. We won't bring that out, but amazing for her. And it took her a year to get there, and she's sitting there going, what did I do to deserve this? And how did I get to this place? And I'm scared, right? Yeah, you're supposed to be scared, people, because if you're not living your life uncomfortably, you are not living.
Yeah.
At all. If
Like,
you are just stagnant, that's what the point is to life is. Even though you're uncomfortable, you're going to have some amazing friendships, amazing experiences. And just like that, she cut out a lot of people in her life. She took a lot of people off her Facebook. I don't know if you want to share that, because you avoided it the last time. So what made you decide to get rid of people? What specifically? Don't even tell them who the people are.
yeah, I'm
Specifically why? But specifically
okay.
why?
So these people were steadily watching me, but didn't have pure intentions for me as a person. So it's an envious of vibe from them. And I could feel that energy. And it was having an effect on me mentally. So in order to protect my energy and my boundaries and my mental, my inner peace, I had no other choice. Because how can you be envious of someone who has been nothing but nice to you and been a friend to you, and all you've done is viewed it as a competition? Like, I don't compete with none of you. I root you on, I cheer you on, I love you all, and I am going to always, regardless if I'm freaking living in a tent in Tent City or something, I'm going to cheer you on. If I'm living in a mansion in freaking LA somewhere, I'm still going to cheer you on.
That's going to happen, by the way. We're going to be living in a mansion in LA. So you guys might want to jump on the bandwagon, start following us now, get some free merchandise. I'm just saying. I just want to throw it out there. Y'all don't even know how far we're going to take this.
Go get your drip. Be the first ones.
Yeah, because eventually you might be like, man, this shirt's worth so much money now. 2 broads went around trying to change a community who were putting y'all don't even know. Like, it's gonna get intense.
Like, I want to be there to support you and help you rise. I want you to reach out to me. I want you to ask me for advice. I want to give you the answers that you need. But at the same time, if you're going to come to me and ask me for advice, and I do expect for you to show some support for me as well. And it doesn't have to be financially. It can be as much as watching my live, sharing it, liking it, saying a nice gesture on one of my posts, because that helps me get through the day. All those beautiful comments that I get, all the support that I get is what keeps me going. That's what helps push me. And that's why I do it for you guys, because I want you to get there. I want you to want to succeed, because you have these people who support you, who love you. And it's important for you to know that you have all these people that love you while you're going through things like that. And you have people who support you and who aren't envious towards you. Yeah, who aren't envious towards you, who aren't jealous of you, who want to see you rise. Now, and the reason how I know these people, one specific person would do it, is because every time they did it, God was like, let me go ahead and show her that you're doing it. Oh, you accidentally called her. Oh, you accidentally hit the like button and then unhit it. So I knew these people were stalking my page to watch me, but they're not calling me to support me. They're not watching my live. And these were people who I've been friends with since I was like 14. Best friends. Like, that's fucking ridiculous. And excuse my language, but I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no, you're fine.
I'm not in competition with you, honey. Not. Nope. Sorry.
So as the encouragement, as the encourager over here, this is why me and Kara work well together, good cop, bad cop, is that, let me just say
Kara
this
got angry
right
for
now.
a second.
I love when she does it because it makes my day. Anyways, and just like anybody else on the show, you just wait for that moment for Kira just to go. And that's the best part about a part of our show. And I'm like, hey, everybody, let's calm down. Okay, so basically, I want to say this about opinion on yourself. I walked away from so many people. Now, this was back in when I was like 20, I would say my early 30s. I was like 30 years old. I had a good group of girlfriends and did a lot for them and stuff like that. Like, can I be honest? Sometimes we outgrow people, right? And I mean this in the best of way. And I don't mean this in a mean way. Sometimes when you have set something out for yourself, just because somebody cannot do it and puts you down, doesn't mean that you should stop your goals or seeking what you need to do with your life journey. Because just because they can't do something doesn't mean that you can't. And not everybody wants to see you succeed. Not everybody's in your corner. Learn that. Okay? Anybody listening right now, not everybody's in your corner wanting to see you succeed. Kara and I, yeah, we do. We have nothing, but love and positivity to give out to people. And what hurts her and what I'm hearing is that these people aren't your people anymore.
Mm-mm.
And I say that, and I want you to realize that, because those people aren't your people anymore because you've changed.
They don't
And
like
I'm
it.
sorry. Yeah, and that's okay. Just remember, don't get angry because you grew in a different way. Sometimes different doors opens and shuts them for a reason. God takes
Mhm.
people out of your life for a reason, and he puts people in your life for a reason. And
Mhm.
sometimes some people are lessons.
Mhm.
Some people are choices. Some people
Mhm.
are meant to teach you something, and some people are meant to stay in your life. And maybe he put us together because my loyalty is insane. Usually if I care about you, I will be in your life always, whether it benefits me or it doesn't benefit me. I don't use people for anything. And that's because life's too short not to be happy and love the people that you are with. Do as much as you can for anybody. If you can do it, you can afford it, you can love more. I would love to make millions of dollars, guys. I would love for me and Kara to make millions of dollars, because these are two girls that would give so much to charity, back into battered
Mhm.
women's shelter. Definitely battered women's shelter. I would love to start my own hospital, not just for women, but for children, men, just
Mhm.
anybody's that's getting mental, physical abuse. I want to try to get these high schools and schools to give better educations to kids in poverty, and not just poverty, everywhere, because all kids are struggling. This is the problem.
Mhm.
All kids are struggling in school. Like, all kids. Doesn't matter. Same, they say, oh, we get the same education, level of education. No, we don't. I went to North High School. I'll tell you, we did not get the same education. I learned the same thing. I believe in history for like 5-6 years in a row. I'm just throwing it out there. Y'all know. Yeah.
Mhm.
If you went like from 6th grade on, it was like the same thing to me. My brain got bored. Like, we weren't challenged enough, to me, in that curriculum at that time. Not saying now, but when I went, I was just like, let's spice things up a little bit.
Right.
Do you have a bug on your camera?
No. There's this fly that keeps flying around though, and it keeps landing on me, and I'm gonna kill it, but I don't have my. Well, I swear these flies are treacherous this year. Telling you, care for them before I kill them, though. I say care for them before I kill them. I do.
Before I kill you, fly. You super
I
duper
hope.
fly. We're about to put on Missy Elliott.
I hope you don't
It's
feel no
a
pain, but you got
winter.
to go.
I can't stand the rain.
I can't stand the fly.
We all outgrow, and when we do, it's the most uncomfortable change. And it is, girl. It is. My girl had this moment where I had to call her this last week, and I said, "Woo, she's hitting that wall like we've all hit that wall of change." And let me tell you, it was like, here it is. I'm having my moment. I am freaking out. Because what do we do when we're changing all those good changes happen? We make too many at one time. And it's
then I
like, I'm going to do
overthink.
this. Oh,
I
yeah.
overthink everything. I overthink everything.
Yeah. See, okay, Kira's always killing us. So y'all need to understand that. She is always killing her kids. She is always killing me and her. She is always killing us for our next job and our journey. Like, always. I'm like, dang, let's live first. Let's live first, because there's tons of people that put their lives at risk to speak the truth all the time, and we're no different. We're just, it doesn't matter. People are gonna hate us anyways. Like, I'm trying to tell her, like, it don't matter how much positivity you're bringing into the world. There's gonna be that one person who's like, "Did you see her lipstick shade?
Negative Nancy.
I don't like her hair
Karen.
like that." It's always gonna be someone that has something to say. But just remember, to me, you outgrew them mentally and emotionally, because all we're trying to do is a service to make people laugh and have Kira stop killing us, because she tries to kill us. Like, not just her by herself. Like, I'm with her when she dies. I'm like, dang. I guarantee. But when we're in our LA mansion in the sky, apparently, y'all come pray for us. We'll drop dollars. Remember those times? You should have bought those shirts. I want you to remember this moment before we become something big. I'm like, remember when we told you?
Because
You
it's
should have
on
bought that
its way.
merchandise.
A year from now, I'm telling you, give me 1 year, and I'm going to be in LA before the end of that year.
It's going to be insane. And I'm just going to be there with my coconut water, with stuff in my coconut water.
Girl, we're going to take a vacation. We're going to be at Maui with our little drinks with our umbrellas, like just
Yep.
enjoying the beach.
I don't know why she's moving to LA. She means we're going to be in Cleveland, because they're going to offer us a radio show. She's moving to LA. I will come visit. It is hot in LA. Do you like hot weather?
That's why we have a pool and air.
Yeah. Do you like hot weather, though? I'm just asking for a friend, because I do not like hot weather.
If my backyard's fenced in enough, I'll just walk around my yard naked. Like, I don't give a fuck.
I mean, there's an option. But me, I like
sprinklers going. Sprinklers.
I like the season.
Letting it all hang, running through the sprinklers.
I mean, of course, if I had to come there, I would be there and do a couple shows there, maybe half year. But when it comes to the seasons, I love fall. I love winter. Yeah, I'm a weirdo. I like it dark. I like it cold. I'm a vampire. And then she wants to put me in the middle of the sun. Y'all, look at my skin color. I'm just gonna burn. What? Just walking around like a yeah, it won't matter. And you know what? I'll be walking around like a big freckle. She'll be like, "Oh, you look so good." I'll be like, "Oh, I look thinner because I got a tan." But other than that, I hate this. She'll be like, "Want to go for a walk?" I'm like, "Is it 7? Is the sun half mast?" Then it all comes out. I'm just kidding, you guys. I went to Kings Island and I burnt my skin off. Like, the UV rays was 10. I put stuff all over myself. I'll put it on later. It says, I'm standing there. I'm like, I'm a tomato. Yeah, bitch, I got burnt. Girl's talking about going to LA. I'm going to be one big crispy critter.
I want to go to LA on like a business trip.
I would love to go to LA.
For
a business trip. Live there? I don't know if I can hang with those people. You know, those people ain't gonna like me.
Maybe we'll have a house out there that we have for when we go out there on business trips.
We'll have a mansion in LA just for you guys to come and hang out and go there for like a summer house. Girl, it's crazy. We're gonna have a mansion right in the middle of Cleveland next to LeBron James.
When I get this money, I'm flying out all the homies. We're gonna have a big ass mansion party and we're gonna chop it up.
People are gonna
and live life to the fullest.
People are gonna start touring Akron like LeBron was here, Kara was here, Susie was here. I'm like, I know. We had nothing to do. That's because y'all are in electronics all day. We were being radio hosts. We were dancing around our rooms, like pretending we were famous, pretending that we were going to go places. And then me and Kara decided, we're done dancing in the middle of the living room naked. We're going to go do this. And we talk. She's like, I'm going to go to LA and dance outside naked, and I'm going to take pictures.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to film myself dancing, just letting it all hang in the sprinklers.
It won't even be the year that we made it big, guys. It'll just be a random day outside our house. Look out for that.
I'm just going to wake up and just be like, yeah, let me go outside and run through the sprinklers. Block around.
Put the block.
I earned this.
Put the blocking out, like the big blocks where you turn around and all she can see is those black bar out things. I'm showing her butt though. She doesn't know. How that happened? Her kids will be scarred for life. That's what our plan is. Scar our children.
Yeah.
Someone's got to do it. Yeah.
Might as well be me.
So I'm actually a step parent. I don't even have my own children. I mean, I consider them my own children. I will love them like my own children. How do you guys feel about like me as the other parent, the other woman helping raising children? That's a good topic. That's what we need to get into. I happen to be a very excellent person who happens to really love my
everyone.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it doesn't make it easy though. I talk to our strong step parents out there too that need the love and support too, because you're parenting your new parents. Me, I'm a new parent, so I'm just kind of figuring this all out. I have a 10-year-old. She's amazing. She's very smart, likes to play on her games and stuff. I'd like to see her in ballet. The girl is all legs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just.
So I have a question. So how do you build a relationship with a new stepchild when you're first meeting them? Like, how do you try and build that in a healthy way?
I think the nature of the situation. The nature of the situation is hard in general because of how this all went down with the mother and my significant other. It's not because that there was. It's hard to explain. It was a really hurtful situation for everybody. It was a hurtful situation for the girls. They're daddy's girls for sure. I think the mother of the two children believes that, he kind of plays them against them, which kind of puts me in a weird situation. And he doesn't, by the way. He really doesn't do that. He really does stick up for the mom and says a lot of good things about her and things like that, and don't let their kids talk badly about her. Obviously, what happened is on the end of decisions of her in both situations. Both times they were together and gone, and that's between them. I'm not even going to bring that up. What makes it hard is to be a biased person, because I'm on the outside and all I want to do obviously right away is do the right thing by the kids. It doesn't matter if I agree with their father or their mother or not. They deserve to be kids. They deserve to have a full life, a full family. I don't think that they necessarily get that on the other end from what I'm hearing, not from them, but from the kids themselves. Like our 17-year-old wants to stay with us, and the mom's having a hard time with that when we had the 10-year-old full time. But can I be honest? Like, they're happy here. Mm-hmm. And I think that's, as a parent, any parent, that's the most important thing right then and there, no matter what. And I can't say that that's okay, because she's obviously a state away. She's 8 hours away. Mm-hmm. And that's hard. And I'm not saying that, but as the person in this situation, I kind of go, wouldn't you rather have your children with somebody who's good for them and takes care of them and pays for their schooling and treats them like their own, as opposed to being with somebody who wouldn't do that for your child if your child did decide to be with the father?
So my next question, yes, I would. So my next question is, do you think the relationship between that woman and that man, with it being healthy and very, and good and very communicative, do you think that helps affect the children to be more happy?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I 100% wish things were different, and not in the sense they actually have good communication. The parents do have good communication. It's not in the household itself, is because of how things are going on over there. I'm not sure of like the ins and outs, or like I wouldn't bring that up right now. I just know it's because
Just as a like
they
theoretical, like so, like
oh yeah.
if the kids came from a home where there was constantly arguing and fighting and disagreements, and then they go into a home where it's a healthy relationship, do you think that's going to have a positive effect on them, or do you think it's going to be a little much for them to handle?
I think it would have a I mean, as far as it would have a positive effect. The only reason is because the brain, with positivity, living in a positive environment, just like you guys do your energy thing, that's what's going to happen with them. They won't have to feel like they have to take on so much. I mean, I've had friends with parents that were abusive. I mean, I had a friend when I was little who would come stay the night. And I mean, she thanked me on Facebook a little while ago about how I would open up my window and let her come in and stay because her parents were fighting. And it scares kids. It scares kids. It makes them feel unstable. I can honestly say if my parents sat there and fought with their spouses or boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever in my home around me, that would feel suffocating. That would feel like I have to, and being an empath too. If you're an empath, you're going to feel like you need to make that situation better no matter how old you are. So that it makes you grow up quicker than you needed to, and they should be enjoying their childhood. That's my
Absolutely.
that's
Hmm.
my main goal here. So coming into that situation, I'm happy to be here because I definitely think if God were to put me in that situation, in all situations of my life right now, where all my pieces start connecting, like I said, everything happens in good time. Like just Kira said, trust the timing of your life, because sometimes you're ready for something mentally that you have to learn something before you can appreciate something.
Hmm.
Um, I totally I totally appreciate communication. Um, but like kids need to be first, guys. Like, and what I mean by this is they only have one chance at being a kid. You know, like really being a
Hmm.
kid for a little while. And some people know have never had that opportunity. I know people that have been taking care of their siblings since 8 years old. But if you can, let them be kids for a while. I don't think parents should necessarily go to their children and gripe about everything that they're going through in their life. Um, and it hurts me to see that for the kid because they feel like they have to fix everything and they can't, but they want to.
Hmm.
Going to school is hard enough. Dealing with Joe Schmo in the back of the classroom who's going to be mean to you or hurt your feelings or poke at you for being tall, being too skinny, being too big, being too smart, being too small, being too I mean there's so many different things going on with these kids today. They're just vicious. Freaking I am like, "Oh my god."
So, what kind of advice would you give parents that separated out of a toxic relationship where it was toxic for both of them and the kids, where the kids were in this type of situation, when they're making those changes in their life and they're trying to change their life and their children's life? What kind of advice would you give them on changing these habits that are hard to break?
I think that everybody has to get along in every single unit of your life. I think if you're a couple that's had children and you split up, the people that you date or get involved with have to 100% understand that you are now taking on a role as a parent when you get serious with that parent. Number one is the person coming into it, and the two parents have to understand too that um, like me, I don't have children, so that's another thing. A lot of I find out that a lot of people that don't have children, even as they get older, end up with people that do have children later on, and that kind of happens. But I think honestly, it takes all of you to get along. The woman
Mhm.
and the woman, the man and the man, to be there to help with these kids, because those kids definitely need to know who their parents are and make the right decisions for their lives and their values, depending on each situation being different. My situation, I'm thrilled to step in and be there for them. I'm thrilled to that they want to be with me and Frankie, but I'm also deathly afraid of messing up someone's life. Like for the first time ever, I'm like, oh my God, I can mess up your life. And I don't want to. I find that I'm probably more of a strict parent than I thought I would be after they become your own. More stricter in the idea that I don't let things fly as much, like attitude wise. Like I'm just not for it. Like you're it's like you're up here, you need to come down here. Like
So, how long after dating someone do you think it's okay for your children to meet your significant other that you've been dating?
I would say 2 months.
You don't think it should be like some type of commitment involved?
Oh, well, yeah, yeah, absolutely. When before, like me and with me and Frankie, here's a good example, guys, is that we had that conversation to where he wanted me to build a connection with him before the children, because sometimes people meet children and they obviously fall in love with children before they fall in love with the other person. That's just gonna happen. I just want I just want to say that because kids are just easy to love to me. You know what I mean? They're easy to love, they're easy to talk to, and they have this innocence about them that you remember having, and it's wonderful to watch
So
them, and you don't want to
precious.
yeah, you don't want to take that from them. But also the moment you step into a kid's life, anybody out there, the moment that you come in, the last thing kids need is for you to come in and out of their life to create structure and take it away from them. So um, I think that that conversation should always happen with every parent going into a relationship, whether they have kids or not, that don't step into this situation, not that you can help it, and not take it seriously. That's from the step parent end. I think for step parents though, or women and men, even though these are your children, just keep in mind that there are people helping taking care of that child. If you're one of these people, and if they do the best they can next to the person you didn't have a good relationship with, and they're good to your kids and they do everything for them, have an open heart and open mind to the fact that God put that them just as much as you as a parent in their life, and all they're trying to do is like give them a good life.
Mhm.
I'm not trying to say don't go to your mom's house, I can't help that your kid doesn't want to be there. Like I'm
Right.
not making them think that. I think there's personal responsibility to those choices, and honestly, like in my situation, both of these kids are extremely close to their dad. Not before me. They are call him all the time. They talk to him all the time. They're extremely close with him. It's good to see as a woman, like just to see kids really, going to their dad for and all resources. The one thing I like about it is he doesn't. So we're kind of in a good situation as far as like roles go. But I think always as a step parent, you always feel like you're going to overstep. You know what I mean? And you
Mm.
don't want to. And the person like you, if you married somebody later down the road who was your husband and you trust him and you love him, obviously you would say, make her go to her room, go do this. And that, I'm still like, oh, you do that. But then it's going to be good cop, bad cop, because then they're going to be like, well, Susan never, disciplines
Mhm.
me. And I'm just like, because I don't know how. You know what I'm saying? So I have all the respect for, his ex-wife and their situation, because you can't always, when you're raising kids, you have to be a little firm for sure. But I
Yeah.
don't know how firm I am more than I'm communicative. Like, this ain't happening again. But I'm a lot more firmer than I thought I'd be. So I'm proud of that. Um, I like creating boundaries is
Mhm.
basically what I'm saying. Like I'm the adult, but I respect you in your place. Kids get hurt, man. Like I really
Yeah.
feel like they're hurting, but it's getting better.
I've seen a change in my oldest since me and her dad have been separated. She's been acting out a lot. Um, and I feel like I could go about handling it, with everything that I have going on. I'm not able to fully dedicate myself to handling it and focusing on what it is that's actually bothering her. So what I'm doing is I'm putting her in counseling. Because I feel like she needs to feel like she can open up to someone and tell them exactly how she feels. because she doesn't want to tell me. She won't open up to me like she will somebody else. You know what I mean? So I mean, I don't know what else to do at this point because she acts out. She says hurtful things to me that she knows going to hurt my feelings on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And
That also comes with a change. You might have been the yes mom all the time, get what you want, do what you want mom at one point in your past, and now you're the more structured mom, and this is not going to fly mom, and this is what's happening. Dad's different than mom's situation.
Dad was usually the one who put his foot down, and mom was usually the one that said, "Yeah, go ahead." But now I have to say yes and no. Now I have to be both, and it's been a process to learn that.
Kids hurt. Kids definitely feel, I think, what you go through as a parent. Your kids are so close to you guys. Remember that your kids are you. You carried them for 9 months. They were next to you in your home. This is what they're used to. And when that foundation changes, and I'm going through it too, and I'm on the outside looking in, I see the pain it causes. It's a really weird phenomenon, I think, for kids. I think it does shape them in a very way, but can you make it healthy? Yes. Is it going to be challenging? Yes. Um, but you have to be up to that task because their lives matter. And what you do from this point, what you don't do from this point for your kids, take responsibility because they need you. And that's the most important thing. That's why she's on the radio tonight. That's why, Kira pushes as hard as she can. It's for those kids. I know that's her will. My will, the reason why I do it is because I want people to really understand what positive people can do in this world and less judgmental. My drive is to get people to be less judgmental and more open-minded, and so we can learn from each other. The drive behind me is I always knew that I was going to do something with my life bigger than me. For some reason, I knew that when I was little. I've had people go, "I see something in you my whole life." And I'm like, "I don't know what you see. You can tell me that now, but you got to learn who you are before you can give advice to people and go through hard things." And here we are. I mean, take a deep breath and take it in because I've been through some hard things, and here I am, non-addict, show up every day, loyal to the people who aren't loyal to me. That's another thing. People ask me, how can you stay loyal to people that aren't loyal to you or hurt you or do this other stuff? And you know what I tell them, Kira? It's not about me. It's not about them, it's about me.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it's never between me and them anyways. It was always between me and God. And that's who I am. And just because somebody does something that I don't like or I don't approve of doesn't mean that I care for them any less or don't love them any less, but I get to pick and choose really who I let in my life because nobody gets to mess with my peace of mind or peace. You talk to me all day, shit to me all day. I don't care. But the people that are in your life when you start growing to come back to you is uncomfortable. Keep that in mind. It is the most uncomfortable time and the most exhilarating moment of your life. You're doing things that everybody said you couldn't do, or the society you lived in said that you wouldn't be able to do, but you're doing it. So, and you're like, I'm confused, and that's okay. Guys, if you're doing something bigger with yourself in your life and you've kind of didn't think you'd be that person, it's a really mind-changing moment in your life that you ask, why did I hurt myself so much? Why did I put myself through so much? And the truth of the matter is because you had to help other people. And how can you help other people if you went through an easy life? You don't. I mean, you can, but how much can you help them?
You can't relate to them as well as you can if you went through similar things. You can't empathize with them the same. You can try to as best as you can, but you can't empathize with them like you could if you went through similar things and you can understand it fully or better. Not even fully, because some things you're not going to understand like that next person.
Mhm.
Yeah, this was definitely a great podcast. My stuff is going to die, just like my camera did. So
Well, next show is going to be on the radio, guys. So you're going to have to tune in that way. I'm going to look
yes,
up some fun stuff. If you guys think of anything you want to know or hear about or touch on base more, let me know. I'm going to let Kara shut it down. And we are going to
we're
go
going to give
to.
away some stuff on our radio show too. So make sure you're tuned in.
Yeah, and I go to Corn tomorrow. I go to see Stained and Corn tomorrow. So I'll tell you about that show. And I go see
Yes.
NF on the 27th. So I'll tell you about that show. I'm a big show person. So if I like it, let me just tell you, I'll go to things I don't like because y'all want me to go. But I want you to know you ain't gonna like me for what I have to say about some of the people you love. Because some of them do not put on good shows. They put on a good studio show. They do not put on a good appearance. Paying all that money to sit there.
Some people fake it till they make it.
You know, if that's what you got to do it.
I mean, whatever floats your boat, but that's not gonna be me.
I don't know. I was just getting into I'm going to Corn tomorrow rhythm. That's all that's in my head because I get off at 1:00 tomorrow and then I'm off work all the way until Tuesday.
All right. So we love you guys and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.